Benigno Aquino III Liberal Rodrigo Duterte PDP Laban. The Philippine presidential and vice presidential elections of 2016 were held on Monday, May 9, 2016, as part of the 2016 general election. This was the 16th presidential election in the Philippines since 1935 and the 6th sextennial presidential election since 1986. Incumbent President Benigno Aquino III was ineligible for re-election, pursuant to the 1987 Philippine Constitution. Therefore, this election determined the 16th president. The position of president and vice president are elected separately. Thus the two winning candidates could come from different political parties. Rodrigo Duterte led the preliminary count with 38.5% of the vote. The Congress met in late May to canvass the results and issued an official result with Rodrigo Duterte and Leni Robredo emerging as the winners of the presidential and vice presidential races, respectively. They were proclaimed on May 30 in the House of Representatives. According to the Constitution of the Philippines, the election is held every 6 years after 1992. On the second Monday of May, the incumbent president is term limited. The incumbent vice president may run for 2 consecutive terms. The plurality voting system is used to determine the winner, the candidate with the highest number of votes. Whether or not one has a majority, wins the presidency. The vice presidential election is a separate election, is held on the same rules, and voters may split their ticket. Both winners will serve 6-year terms commencing on the noon of June 30, 2016 and ending on the same day 6 years later. Senator Benigno Aquino III of the Liberal Party, who ran on an anti-corruption platform, won the 2010 election with 42.08% of the votes, defeating Joseph Estrada, a former president who was deposed in 2001 after scandals of massive corruption, and several others. Meanwhile, Estrada's running mate, Makati Mayor Jejima Binay of the Partido Democratico Pilipino Lakas Ng Bayan, defeated Aquino's running mate, Senator Ma Roxas of the Liberal Party and several others. In the vice presidential election, Roxas eventually accused Binay of electoral fraud in the Presidential Electoral Tribunal, citing that some of his votes were recorded as null votes. Both Binay and Roxas were subsequently appointed by Aquino to his cabinet, with Binay heading the Housing and Urban Development Coordinating Council, and Roxas first being given the Transportation and Communications portfolio, then finally named as Secretary of the Interior and Local Government, after the ban of appointing losing candidates expired a year after Aquino took office on June 30, 2010. As of 2014, the tribunal had still not yet acted upon the preliminary motions of both parties, and on Binay's counter-protest, the suit is expected to still not have been resolved by the time President Aquino's term expires. For the midterm 2013 Senate election, Aquino and Roxas formed the Team Pinoy coalition. Estrada's PMP and Binay's PDP Laban forged an electoral alliance, the United Nationalist Alliance. Team Pinoy won 9 Senate seats against UNA's 3. Former Movie and Television Review and Classification Board Chairwoman Grace Poe, daughter of defeated 2004 presidential candidate Fernando Poe Jr., topped the senatorial election. In March 2014, PDP Laban withdrew from UNA, a week after Binay resigned as party chairman, due to differences with its leaders. Party President Aquilino Pimentel III had a public quarrel with Binay over Juan Miguel Zubiri's inclusion in UNA's 2013 senatorial slate, whom Pimentel had accused of cheating in the 2007 Senate election. In Pulse Asia survey released in April 2014, the first opinion poll for the presidential election, it showed Binay leading aspiring candidates, with 40% of those surveyed, with Grace Poe a far second at 15%. Several other stalwarts of UNA, such as Senators Juan Ponce Enrile and Jinggoy Estrada, who had manifested his intention to run as Binay's running mate, and others such as Senator Bong Revilla of Lakas CMD, who was planning to run for president, were detained due to their involvement in the pork barrel scam. No personalities linked with the Liberal Party involved in the scam were investigated. These actions by the government which it said was part of its anti-corruption drive, was cited by UNA as political persecution. In July 2014, Renato Bondal, a defeated mayoral candidate in the 2013 Makati mayoral election, filed plunder cases against Makati Mayor Jejima Binay, JR, and his father, the vice president, to the ombudsman. By the next month, a subcommittee of the Blue Ribbon Committee composed solely of Pimentel, along with Nacionalista Party members Alan Peter Cayetano and Antonio Trillanes IV, began Senate hearings against Binay on his alleged corruption while serving as mayor of Makati, beginning with the alleged overpriced annex building of the Makati City Hall. It was followed by hearings on alleged corruption on the